This Saturday, Africa's leaders converge again at the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa to make a statement on its relationship with the Hague-based court. They will adopt the report recommending a collective withdrawal of their nations from the Rome Statute that establishes the ICC.
Africa feels left out, Africa feels not listened to, Africa feels not responded to, and also Africa feels that even this time round, the only reason that we were able to make the progress that we made was because we had an African president of the Assembly of State Parties who understood the African terrain.
The decision by the trial court to apply Rule 68 that allows use of recanted testimony in the case against Deputy President William Ruto and journalist Joshua Sang aggravated the situation. Africa had agreed to the clause during the Assembly of States Parties on the assumption that it would only be applied in future cases, not on an ongoing case like that one against Ruto and Sang.
It cannot be true that as soon as we completed the Assembly of State Parties, the first thing that the court said about the decisions that had been taken there, right? The first thing that they said was that those decisions were irrelevant to the workings of the court, which basically means that the Assembly of State Parties is totally and completely useless.
It was against the basic principles of law and the rule of natural justice, they say.
If the Assembly has no bearing on what happens in the court, the same Assembly that actually created the court, right? If that's the truth, then we should scrap it. Then there's no point in wasting resources and time sitting in a body that has absolutely no bearing on anything. Because if it has no bearing on the court, on what else does it have a bearing?
Africa has not shied from stating that the court is skewed against the continent, only chasing after African leaders, and that it has been acting on the behest of Western interests. President Omar al-Bashir has been a fugitive since the ICC issued a warrant of arrest against him in March 2009 on counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity.
In their face, believe it or not, we are nobody. This is not about President Bashir. This is not about Vice President Ruto. This is about us.
Because there are cases about Iraq against Bush and Tony Blair. They are not new cases, and we have not seen anything.
However, each state withdraws individually. In that case, Kenya will need to pass a bill in Parliament to amend the International Crimes Act. Afterwards, as stated in Article 127 of the Rome Statute, a state may write to the UN Secretary-General notifying him of the intention to withdraw from the statute. The withdrawal shall take effect 1 year after the date of receipt of the notification. Sylvie Chebet, Citizen Live at 9.